Senator Lindsey Graham is with us, a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee from Washington. Senator, always good to see you.
Thank you.
First of all, do you think this potential new plan will work?
I don't know. Everything Obama's done's been laid in half-assed, so I kind of doubt it. The bottom line is that we've allowed the Russians and the Iranians to prop Assad up. We should have done this years ago. Nobody in the region believes that Obama has their back. The problem the president has, he drew a red line against Assad, didn't back it up. He withdrew from Iraq. So this is probably more bluster than anything else. We've lost the ability to negotiate with the Russians and the Iranians because Assad has military support a lot greater than the rebels. And this effort for Plan B is probably just mostly talk.
Late and half-assed, as you said. Some would say this has kept us out of a war, or young men and women. What do you think about that?
I think the people who think this has been a good idea need to go somewhere else in terms of getting their evaluations done. Syria is a nightmare. 250,000 people killed in Syria. It bothers me greatly. More Syrian kids in Lebanese school than Lebanese kids. The King of Jordan's hanging by a thread. 6,000 foreign fighters been trained in Syria. Paris, Brussels, they're coming here. This has been poorly managed. This has been one mistake after another. Leaving Iraq allowed al-Qaeda in Iraq to become ISIL, drawing the red line and doing nothing about it. Has allowed the butcher of Damascus to firmly be in power. Now Russia and Iran is propping up Assad. This has been a complete disaster. It's put the whole world in chaos.
What do you think should have been done? Because let's go back 2 years or so. If the United States bombed Assad's airfields to prevent and stop the barrel bombing, do you think that could have stopped this? If we had taken more action, as Hillary Clinton wanted, to arm the rebels 2-3 years ago, do you think that would have stopped this horrendous situation that we have now?
Absolutely. Assad was on the ropes. His entire national security team advised President Obama to train the Free Syrian Army that was intact 3 or 4 years ago, not infiltrated with so many radical Islamists, and he took a pass. All of his generals said, Mr. President, leave 10,000 troops behind in Iraq. There would be no ISIL if we had done that. So he turned down the advice of his national security team to help the rebels 3 to 4 years ago. He drew a red line against Assad, saying, you better not use chemical weapons. Assad did. Now Russia and Iran. Assad will be in power. Obama's going to go. The next president has a mess on their hands.
I talk about a mess. I mean, one thing they talk about potentially is giving the moderate rebels some man pads, but giving them batteries that will run out at a certain time. So in case they get in the hands of terrorists, they can't tinker with it. You think it's going to work?
No, I don't believe that there is any plan that Obama can come up with that will work now, simply because nobody in the region trusts him. The Russians and the Iranians don't fear him. Assad laughs at him, and the people we're trying to arm are going to have an inferior position on the battlefield. It's going to take a new president, in my view, with a new strategy to get Syria right. And I can tell you this do is the least amount as possible. I may do more if you don't do this is not working. The negotiations in Geneva are sad to me because the Free Syrian rebels, the people who are left who haven't been barrel bombed, really don't have much of a negotiating position. John Kerry and Barack Obama have sold out the Syrian people, and this so-called Plan B, it would only work if you had a full-scale commitment by the President of the United States to make sure it would work. I doubt if that will ever happen with Barack Obama.
Yeah, and finally, Senator, don't want to let you go before we talk about those 28 pages that have been secret, potentially could be declassified. Do you think they show Saudi Arabia complicity with 9/11? Do you think they should be made public? What do you think is in it? And should the American people have the right to know what's in those sealed reports?
I haven't read them, so I can't tell you whether they should be released or not. I can tell you this. I just got back from Saudi Arabia. It's an ally that's not perfect, but they've been an ally since 9/11 that we need. The King of Saudi Arabia, the Deputy Crown Prince, they're wanting to fight ISIL. They are fighting ISIL. They're helping us against Iran. We have two common enemies, radical Islam on the Sunni side and the Iranian regime, and Saudi Arabia is threatened by both. We need this relationship to get stronger, not weaker. I'll leave it up to the experts as to whether or not we should release this information. But please understand that Saudi Arabia is an ally to this country. They need to change, but we need to improve the relationship also.
All right, Senator, we thank you. And of course, radical Islamic terrorism threatens us all. Thank you for joining us this morning.